Now that we have removed the bad or old lower shaft timing gear, we can get ready to replace the new one. It's very important to take a file and get rid of the scar marks which is on the lower shaft. If you take your time and you do a really good job, this will make replacing the lower shaft gear so much easier. This way you can slide the lower shaft gear on easily and move your shaft in and out easily without having to struggle and tap and hit it all the time. So we'll take it up and clean it up a little bit, get rid of the filament or the dust that came off. And let's give it another little cleaning towards the top here, since that's where we put our punch. Hopefully we didn't slip and mess it up too much. So we'll do a really nice job and make sure that the shaft is really clean. And we can see it moves up and down smoothly. Now, we're going to take our lower shaft gear and we inspect it, make sure it's good, and we're going to place it back in. And we're going to hold it down and line it up with the lower shaft. Now, since we did a nice job cleaning, we can take the lower shaft from the bottom there and start to push it up so it goes into the gear. And we're going to make the lower shaft, the top of the lower shaft, flush with the inside of the lower shaft drive gear. And we're going to temporarily tighten one screw. Next, we're going to take our hook race, and we're going to do the same thing and clean up the scar marks which is on the hook race unit. This way, it's very easy for us to slide the whole hook race unit in and out and move it to its proper position later when we have to adjust clearance. So we're going to take the lower shaft and we're going to move it slightly to the right. This way when we put the hook race unit in, the gear that's on the bottom of the hook race unit does not smash up against the new lower shaft drive gear. And we're going to place it in. We're going to try to line it up where the scar marks were before with the screw holes, just to kind of give us a placement for now. Now, we're going to get rid of the white zip tie, and we're going to take our feed fork and now that the feed fork is loose, we can turn the hand wheel and we're going to bring the needle bar to its highest position. And we're going to take a new needle and we're going to put the new needle into the needle bar unit. We'll take the needle bar and bring it down to its lowest position. We're then going to take the shuttle hook guide in the hook race unit and we're going to move it to the right hand side where the spring is lined up with the little groove on the bottom. With the machine laying down, we're going to take a look at the shuttle hook guide and make sure it's still in the right hand and proper position. At that point, we're going to take a look at the lower shaft drive gear, and we can see that the bottom teeth, about the second one or third one in, we're going to line it up with the gear on the hook race unit, and we're going to slide it in gently. Next, we're going to take the pin that we took out of the feed fork area, and we're going to slide it back in. And we will tighten that 2.5 hex screw to make sure that the pin does not fall out. And we'll turn and we'll feel if it turns smoothly. Next, we have our bushing that we're going to loosen, and we need to give it a little bit of a tap to eat up the gap between the lower shaft gear and the bushing itself. So we'll use our hex driver, place it against gently, and tap the bushing to the lower shaft gear. Another little tap, and we're going to eat up the play. Now we don't want to drive it in there to hurt it, we're just eating up the play so when we start to sew later, it'll be okay. Now, we're going to loosen the 2.5 hex screw on the feed cam, and very gently we're going to bring that over towards the bushing. And we will tighten that back up as well. Now we're going to test the backlash. We don't want it binding as we turn it, so we got to be careful. Now since we were tapping things into it, we might have to back off on the lower shaft slightly, or if there's too much slop, move the lower shaft towards the hook race unit gear. Now we can tighten both screws and make sure both screws are tightened well on the lower shaft drive gear. And we'll turn and feel the backlash and the smoothness once again.